So now let us move on to the next exercise. So where what we are going to do here is we are going to make use of the file. Okay. So some of the tasks which may be already done in your system. Let us say we know that the ls-l, right? So if I give ls-l followed by pi and wc space line. So what I'm doing is I'm just listing the files, and that output is going to be processed by the next statement. So this will, the output of this statement ls minus l will be returned inside the pipe, okay, and then that output will be processed with the next statement. Let us say here we are going for the word count. So what is the word count as is the number of lines I'm going to display. So just let me execute this line. So you can see there is a 37. So now my objective is try to build this task in a program bars. So making use of a 5 concept. Okay. So what I want to do is I need to process this keyboard, whatever we are trying to perform. Okay. So we know that pipe is having two ends, one for the read, the other for the write, right? So first, let us say by default it takes the input from the keyboard and then displays the value in the monitor. So what we are going to do here is, let us say we'll take a child process which is going to does the ls-l, okay, and then the parent who is going to perform the word count. So this process we are going to do a message passing, making use of a file. Okay, so by default what it does, the ls, it takes the input from the keyboard and then processing, and it will be displayed in the monitor itself. Now instead of processing this and this, what we are going to do is we'll try to take the input from the keyboard, okay, and then the output of this child will be returned inside the file. So what we want to do is we need to close this end, right? And also whenever we are doing this task, we should not allow other process to do the read operation on the other end of our file. So we need to stop this end also. While processing the child, we need to read the value from the keyboard and then execute the ls-l, and that output should be written inside the file instead of taking it to a monitor. So we will close this end as well as this reading process on the file side. Okay, and similarly on the parent side, what we want to do is by default it takes the keyboard, right? So instead of that, we need to read the value from the file and then write it into a monitor. So the red line indicates here, the arrow which are mentioned in the red is the process path. Okay, so we are taking the input from the keyboard, process with the child, this output will be written inside the pipe, and then read that process. Who is going to read? The parent. The parent is going to read the pipe and then we will try to perform the count of the line and then display in the monitor. So this process also I need to stop. So I should not allow the parent to read it from the keyboard. Instead of that, we need to allow from the file. Clear? And then after processing the word count, we will print it, display the content inside the monitor. So this is the path we are going to perform. Okay. So this is the objective. Let me move on to the implementation part. So I already typed the code. Close. Yeah. So you can see here, I just mentioned the created the pipe now with the P of 2, the array as well as the pipe was called pipe of P, and then we create a child process. And what I'm doing, I'm trying to close the 1. So what it does, it try to close the 1. 1 is nothing but the monitor, isn't it? So this might be closed now. And then so after closing the monitor end, we will go for the duplication. Though what we are doing, we are duplicating the pipe here. So that duplicating is nothing but creation of another pipe. So which means that this value will be stored now in the duplicated pipe. And then we also close the process for reading, right? On the other side, we need to close the reading process. So that's why I just closed here P of C. So we stop the monitor to print as well as the read the pipe. So we will try to just duplicate that value and hold it in the array of 1. And now what we will execute? We will call the execute LP. So I think in the previous overlay program, we know how to call the list of process. So we just take that execute LP command and pass all the process, that is the task which you want to perform, as an argument one by one. So here this is your execution process, and this ls minus l is the argument which we are going to pass, and the last one is the null. So we are passing the null character. So once the execution is completed by the child, what happened? Now this value is available in the file. So now what we want to do? We need to call the parent to read. So before reading, we need to close the parent for reading from the keyboard. So that's why we just close the read of 0. So the keyboard read process will be closed here, and then duplicate the pipe for reading purpose. So we'll just read the pipe and then also close the P of 1. So at the same time, this pipe should not be allowed for write process, isn't it? So that we'll stop this too. So we'll just close the P of 1. And then we will call for the execution LP. So we'll just go for the word count now. So what that child does, it does the ls minus l, so that it lists the files present in the current working directory, and the parent does the number of files, which means the number of lines present in the ls. Okay, so the number of files present in the directory may be listed now. Hope you understood. So now let me execute the program. GCC space execute one I close.c. So now let us run the a.out. So you can see here also, when I execute the ls minus l, I got 37. When I did the same thing through a program, I got the 37. Hope you understood. See? So hope you understood how to do the piping, making use of file descriptor.